Hi, this is Blake Angelos here at Guitar Center with the MX88 music synthesizer. The MX88 is designed around three guiding principles: great feel, great sound, and compelling computer and iOS connectivity. The MX88 tone generator is based on the Motif Sound Engine. The Motif has been in the market for about 15 years, and it's a legendary piece. So having that engine really brings a lot of great sounds on board. Not just acoustic sounds, but also electronic sounds, tons of drum kits, tons of orchestral sounds. It's just a great instrument with lots and lots of great sonic potential. The MX88 features our graded hammer action keybed. Graded hammer action simulates the feel of a concert grand piano, where the lower end is a little heavier because the hammers on a grand piano are larger, so it takes more force. And the upper end is a little bit lighter, where the hammers are a little smaller. So it feels great. And you'd expect that coming from a manufacturer like Yamaha, who's been making pianos for well over 100 years. It feels great, and the sound of the piano is perfectly matched to this great action. Check out the grand piano sound. So the grand piano sound is amazing in the MX88. And again, what I love about it is that it feels really solid under your fingers. It responds really well, and it's just a great feeling instrument. On an instrument like the MX88, not only do you have great acoustic piano sounds, we also have great electronic piano sounds as well. So I'll play a few examples. The first one I'll play is a very dry electronic piano, Tyne vintage piano sound. The next one I'll play is one that uses VCM effects, virtual circuitry modeling. What virtual circuitry modeling is a special technology that Yamaha engineers have designed that really accurately simulates vintage effect boxes like phasers, flangers, and so on. And they're very, very nice sounding and very full and authentic. And the last one I'll play is more of what a reed piano kind of sound, and you'll know what that is. Things like Ray Charles used it on lots of his recordings. So check these out. These are awesome. So check out the full orchestra sound. It's very, very full, but it's also very expressive. I can play very quietly, but as I get loud, the instrument really speaks. Check this out. There's also great acoustic and electric guitar sounds as well. The MX88 has over 1,000 voices on board, and there's 128 performances. So what are all these terms here? Well, a performance is a collection of voices, and the very first performance is actually called right here, MX category. And on the front of the MX, you have category search. So as soon as I select this sound here, I can touch piano, keyboard, organ, and so on, and I can find sounds very easily. If I want to layer the keyboard, I simply touch the layer button, and it points at the layer. It says it right in the screen, and I can select, oh, I want a different type of a layer, maybe some sort of a choir or something like that. If I want to split the keyboard, I touch the split button. If I want to set the split point, I press and hold and select on the keyboard where I want to split. It's very simple, very easy to get through. As you move past that first performance, you can really explore all of the things that MX can do. There are about 1,000 arpeggios. Arpeggios are things like drum grooves or guitar grooves or arpeggiated actually synth lines, all sorts of stuff. There's also over 200 drum grooves in here too. You can combine them in really cool ways. Check out this cool performance. This one has arps going, drum grooves, and everything. I just love how this guy sounds. Check it out. So you notice when I played this, I have these control knobs over here that I can move the cutoff frequency and resonant of the filter. I can control the amplitude envelope of the synth. It's a real synthesizer, and there's these cool controls right on the front. Now, these type of performances that have all of these arps and stuff, you could just leave them in the instrument and that's what you get. But what I love about them is that they give you some inspirational content to do things with. So this is where the computer connectivity is so cool with the MX88. The MX88 is a bidirectional audio, so stereo in and stereo back to and from the computer, and a MIDI interface. So it's great. You can play virtual instruments on the computer and you can monitor those virtual instruments that are coming from the computer out the audio outputs of the MX88. So it makes it a very cool, integrated, computer-based music production system. But check this out. I took this content here and I recorded it into Cubase AI. Now Cubase AI comes with every MX88 for either Mac or PC, and it's a pretty powerful music production audio and MIDI recording platform. So check out what I've done here. I'll open up Cubase and I'll show you exactly how this works. This is really cool. So now I'm connected to the computer. Now there's some great things about just some housekeeping that you want to do when you connect to a computer. You want to do a thing called turn off local control. So it's very easily done on the MX88. When I touch the utility button and I select the job, it has a thing that says quick setup. So if I hit enter, it has standalone. Well, we're not standalone now. Now we're connected to a computer. So I'm going to turn on what says DAW record. And I hit enter, and all that housekeeping that you need when you connect to a computer is now done. Now the cool thing about the MX88 also is that it is a remote control surface. Now it's very elegantly set up to work with Cubase, but it'll work with Logic, it'll work with Live, it'll work with pretty much any DAW on the market. But since we have Cubase here, I'll show you how cool it is with Cubase. So when I touch the DAW remote button, now these transport controls that previously were starting and stopping the internal drum grooves are now going to control Cubase. Now what I did with this particular song I'm going to show here is I took that initial performance I just played for you and I recorded parts of that performance into Cubase as digital audio. So check this out. As I start to play here, you'll hear this kind of fade in. So that was the arpeggio without the drum groove. So I recorded that first, and then I recorded the drum groove as a separate track. So you can see I can start and stop. Now, when I'm in front of the instrument here, there's everything that's kind of in gray with black that says jog, lock, add instrument track. Those are specific commands for Cubase. So it's cool. When I select the jog button, I can move through and move where the cursor is moving on the timeline and get to where I want to start my song here. And then the cursor up and down buttons, I can select different tracks. So I have some tracks that I've already set up here. And remember, this is when you're in a performance is not just a collection of drum grooves and arps, it's also a collection of up to 16 individual voices. So I have on one of my voice will be a bass, one will be a piano, one will be a guitar sound, a synth line, and then I'll show you how it very elegantly integrates with a virtual instrument. So as I move up and down, I can select my bass. I can move down one and select a piano. I can move to the next track and select a guitar. I can go down and select a synth line. And then at the very bottom, I actually have a virtual instrument. Now, right on the front panel of the MX, it says VSTI window. So I can either add the instrument track, which I've already done, or when I touch VSTI window, a virtual instrument will pop up. So this right here is Retrolog 2. This is one of the virtual instruments in Cubase Pro. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that out. And now what I'll do is I'll record continuous loops on this groove that I recorded, remember, from the performance data, and I'll add more tracks to it. Check it out. So as you saw, I can move from track to track to track without ever touching the computer and without ever dropping out a record. I just recorded the last track I recorded was the virtual instrument. All of these things can happen simultaneously without stopping my flow. This is really a great, powerful, integrated system. So another cool thing about how this works here with Cubase, when I look inside the screen here and I selected that virtual instrument track, now these knobs, which have previously been controlling the synthesizer, the hardware MX88, well now they're showing controls for that virtual instrument. So when I bring up the virtual instrument here, you can see that if I move, there's a filter in here and you'll see it moving in the screen right there. That is very cool. So I can actually have hardware control over my software instrument. Another thing that's pretty cool is this thing called the AI knob. The AI knob allows me to hover my mouse over anything, and as I land on something, I can move different parameters. So it's a very fast control surface as well as, a great sounding music synthesizer. It's really cool. So the last thing I'll show you is the cool iOS connectivity. So not only is the MX88 a computer-based audio and MIDI interface to a Mac or a PC, it also is a cool iOS audio and MIDI interface as well. So the first thing I'll tell you is that there is a software that's free on the App Store that's called Cubasis LE. Cubasis LE requires a hardware device to unlock it. This is one of the hardware devices. So you get a really cool audio and MIDI sequencer for iPad that you can unlock. The other app you can get is called FM Essential. It's a free synthesizer for iOS that's an FM synthesizer. Now when you download it, it has limited functionality. You can only play 10 sounds, you can't save, but by connecting it to any MX88, the MX49, or 61, the black or the blue models that are out there, it will unlock this app and you get over 250 voices and you have the ability to save. Now check this out. So here's the FM Essential app right here, and I can select the sounds right there by touching on the iPad, and here are the sounds. But you notice there's only 10 of them and the rest of these are grayed out. If I look here, you see preset, but all of these are grayed out. And there's some cool ones in here that won't be grayed out in a moment. Just take a look at the interface too. It has a kind of a cool little ball controller. You can edit each of the operators. It's a full featured app here. So I'll get out of this screen here. Now I'm going to connect using this. This is called a Lightning to USB connector. You can get these at Guitar Center. They're nice low-cost little things. And with a standard 2-host USB cable, same kind that kind of goes into a printer, when I plug it into the iPad, I wait a few seconds, and boom, there it is. It says, thank you for using this. All features are now unlocked. So I hit the OK button. I can select whatever skin I want. I will choose the black one here. And now when I select this, there are a whole bunch of sounds. There's some that are preset. There's one that's DX100, TX81Z, V50. Now the cool thing about these is that the engineers at Yamaha actually modeled the output of the old vintage FM gear, especially that one, that TX81Z. That is one sought after FM synthesizer. Lots of songs in the 80s, 90s, but also a lot of EDM people really dig the TX81Z. So we have some selections from that vintage model. There's also cool ones in here that are MX88 combinations. So when I touch this one here, it calls up a sound that uses the electric piano from the FM Essential app, but the pad is actually coming from the MX88. So check it out. I'll put this down and I'll just play it real fast. So the electric piano sound, that's coming from the FM Essential app. Now I'll pick this up again just to show you the knobs in here also control some of the functions. So you see that when I move the cutoff frequency and resonance, it moves this multiple parameter control here. So if I play it, so I can control that in real time. Very cool. Now here's another cool tip for you. If you want to get the full version of FM Essential, all you have to do is visit your local Guitar Center, go in and connect to the MX that they have on the floor there, and it will unlock that app. So even if you don't buy an MX, but you will, but even if you don't buy an MX, you get a free app just for stopping in and checking out the MX and checking out the cool integration that this instrument has to offer. So that's a brief tour of the MX88. Great sound, great feel, cool computer integration. Another great thing about the MX88 is that it's really lightweight. It literally weighs less than 31 pounds. I can pick it up with one arm, just like that, no problem. It goes to the gig very easily. It's also really affordable. So when you get a chance, go into your local Guitar Center, check it out on guitarcenter.com, and check out the MX88 from Yamaha. I'm Blake Angelos from Yamaha Corporation America. Thanks a lot for watching.